Welcome to another exciting episode of Doug's Electronic Repair Bench.
Hi evening YouTube, here with you on this Monday evening to do a little demonstration of these transformers that I showed here recently. What I've done is basically hook them up back to back, secondary to secondary, if you will. I am putting a voltage into one of the transformers, into the primary. This will be the voltage that we should get out of the secondary. Now, for this demonstration and what we're doing with this, the center taps are not used at all, and so therefore they're just kind of hanging in the breeze, as it were. So that's what they're going to be doing. Again, basically, whatever we put in on the one transformer, we should get out on the other transformer. Now, I will put up a diagram of how this is hooked up so that you can see what it is. Basically, what we're doing is we're transferring the voltage from one transformer to the other transformer, and via the secondaries, and the useful part will be what comes out of the primary on the second transformer. This will be totally isolated from the power line, and that's what an isolation transformer is used for. I will demonstrate this as we do this, and you can see what I'm talking about. Now, for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to be using the Variac AC panel, which has a common, or I should say, earth ground on the outside. As I pointed this out in a previous video, that the panel itself is earth ground, and that's what we're trying to avoid, is any contact with earth ground. So I should be able to read the voltage from the second transformer, and then try to read it from ground or earth, whatever you want to call it, even the neutral of the power line. There should be no connection. So now we may see a phantom voltage, which, you know, that won't bother anything. So we'll see what we get when we do it. Also, the only thing, this may provide a inversion of the phase because of the way they're hooked up. It just depends on how they're hooked up to each other. If you wanted inverted phase, it would be fine. If you didn't want inverted phase, basically just switch the connections on one end or the other between the green wires, and you would have your back in phase then. So transformers are funny. I mentioned to Robert that he was saying some of the things I could do with these as far as making power supplies. I could make use one of them and make basically an 18 volt 5 amp output power supply, which would be nice. Or I could take and put them in series and have a 36 volt 5 amp power supply. And I pointed out to him that I also could put them in parallel and basically have 18 volts at 10 amps. So all those possibilities are possible. It really depends on how they're wired and things like that, on what you get out. So let's get into the first demonstration here, and that's going to be me cranking some voltage into this, and we'll be watching the digital multimeter, see what kind of voltage we're getting out. I'll kind of report what's going in, and you'll see what's going out. So let's do that before I forget what I'm doing. Alright, what I've got going on here, let me show you the hookup. There's transformer number one. That one will be hooked up to the Variac power outlet right there on the binding posts, and I will slowly crank up the voltage, and we'll watch how the voltage comes up over here on this side on the digital multimeter. This is the other transformer. This will be the output. So I've tried to keep these as separate as I can. I think they're fairly well separated. Alright, as you can see, the secondary, or I should say the center tap of each secondary is open right there. That's one of them right there with the stripe. And there's the other one with the stripe on the other. Now, we don't want to touch those. Those will be live. But just for this demonstration, we're going to go ahead and do this just like this. So let me go ahead and turn the variac on. And we'll get it hot. And we're going to turn the multimeter on and see what we can do. We have, there's 22.9 volts, and if we look over here we see 21.2. Now there is some loss in these transformers. Everyone has losses. They're just the characteristics of a transformer. Also, the meter, I trust this one to be more accurate, but that's close. So let's go ahead and go on up, see what we get. See, those are 70, 80, 90. Let's see, at one. Alright, there's 120.6. Over on this side we have 109. So again, there is some loss there. But we do have a totally isolated output. There is no connection to the earth ground. I'm going to prove that by taking one of these leads loose and touching it to the earth ground, and we'll see what we got. Hang on. There you go. You see there's still 120.1. I am touching the earth ground, and if you look over here it says 16 volts. That's a phantom voltage. There's no voltage really there. It's just what makes it look like there is. And we go to the power line, get the same exact thing, because those places are identical in the circuits, inside the circuit box, your breaker box. Those points are identical. So, and that's what we're looking for. So there's no connection there at all. And let's do the other one just to be sure. Alright, taking the other one now and touching the same point. Still got 120.6. We can look over here. We have a 4.9 now, 5, whatever. And we are touching that earth ground again. Same thing here. Same 5 volts. So basically you're isolated from the power line. Alright, we're back up to fully connected now. Let's see what it takes to get that up to 120. Alright, we're at 120.5, and if we look at there, we're at 138.2. So there is some definite loss in those transformers. So, you know, like I said, that's but at least that's what we're after, is to point out the fact that you're isolated from the power line. So that's what we were wanting to point out, and I think we got our point across. And I'm happy with the way this has turned out. Let's turn this back now. In fact, let's turn this off. There we go. And our voltage is back down to 0. So anyway, let's go back to our other camera now, and we'll end this up. Alright, now you can see exactly what I was saying. The two transformers back to back like that, and it helps for them to be identical transformers. You can use transformers that have the same secondary voltage. That will work, but for a really good application, I would say use two identical transformers. Again, for a real life situation, nothing like what we've got here, you would want something with a very high amperage on the secondary, which translates to a fairly high amperage on the primary as well, to get any kind of decent use at it. This one, as I pointed out earlier, was 84 volt amps, which is not quite the same as watts, but it's pretty close. So basically we can say it's less than 100 watts that you could put through that. So if that would be like a 100-watt light bulb. If I hook up a 100-watt light bulb, let me start over. If we hook up a 100-watt light bulb, that would overpower this isolation transformer. So like I said, that's not much. I'm not saying all the radios, you couldn't use it at all. It would be useful with some, I'm sure. But for our purposes, I just wanted to demonstrate the fact of how you make an isolation transformer out of 2 transformers. And that's what you want to do. So you guys, I'm not going to make this a long one. You guys have a great evening. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see ya.